Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Are there any questions before I start? How is your homework going? Do you feel that you can finish by next class? I hear yes, which is good. Okay, so let me just complete. I think last time I was talking about finding the frequency of the signal from the autocorrelation, and we went through a simple example of a sinusoid, and we looked at the zero crossing, the first and second zero crossing, and that distance was half a period. I don't have the notes today, I didn't bring it, but that's kind of half the period. So distance between first and third zero crossing should be the sample period. So the first and second zero crossing, I think the derivation was pi over omega. That distance was pi over omega, which is pi over 2 pi f, which is 1 by 2, 1 by f is the period. So that's half a period. So the distance, so this is the distance between first and second zero crossing. So we derived that as pi by omega, which is half a period. So to get the full period, take the distance between first and third zero crossing, then this will be 2 pi over omega, which will be the period. And you could take the first and second and multiply by 2, but that would be right. That would perfectly be fine if it was a sinusoid. But in the example that if you, by the way, how many of you have already done the MATLAB experiment? Anybody? So if you did that, and you will see that the distance between first and second is not same as distance between second and third zero crossing. So it's not fully periodic in that sense. So that's why if you take the distance between first and third, that corresponds to a whole period, and that period repeats itself. Okay, so that's kind of a clarification from where we stopped last time. So my main objective today is really to start the chapter 8, which is a fast convolution, and the word fast means reducing multiplications. So anytime you hear the word fast Fourier transform, fast parallel filter, so that word fast means reduce number of multiplications while increasing number of add operations at the expense of increase in number of add. So as I explained to you in 1960s, the multiplication operation would take many cycles depending on the word length, and so if we could reduce the number of multiplications, even though at the expense of increasing the number of add operations, then we would reduce the total number of cycles needed in the microprocessor quite a lot, and that's what that word fast means. Okay, so So there are basically in chapter 8, there are two approaches to fast convolution, that's called so-called Cook-Tum algorithm, and that's what I will start with today. And next class, we will talk about Winograd convolution. You may have heard of Winograd FFT, Winograd convolution, so we will talk about Winograd algorithm. Okay, so Professor Cook has this was kind of, I think, his PhD thesis work at University of Michigan in math, but he went on to do some phenomenal work in CS theory and went on to receive the ACM Turing Award, which is the equivalent of Nobel Prize in Computer Science. You may be interested in, look up his Wikipedia page and find out more about him. Okay, so what is exactly the Cook-Tum algorithm? So the Cook-Tum algorithm is based on what is known as Lagrange interpolation. Okay, so what does Lagrange interpolation mean? So Lagrange interpolation says that if I have a polynomial, let's say f of x, in this we are using f of p instead of f of x, simply because x is taken as the input. So let's say f of p is a0 plus a1p plus a2p squared up to a n p to power n, which is summed over all I p to power I equal to 0 to n. So if I have a polynomial of degree n, so this is a polynomial of degree n, which means the degrees of freedom, which means the number of parameters, is n plus 1. So the number of parameters a0 through a n plus 1 parameters, and degree is n. So that's the largest degree term is p to power n. So let's say that I want you to compute fp. Now how many points do I need to know to exactly and uniquely compute f of p? So to compute f of p uniquely, then we need exactly n plus 1 points. And let's say that I gave you all these n plus 1 points, beta 0, f of beta 0. So I sample f of p at n points, beta 1, so p is equal to beta 0, and I know what that is, and up to beta n and f of beta n. So given p plus 1 points, given these values, where for p is equal to beta pi or p is equal to beta I equal to 0 to n. So I know n values, and I know the value of the function f of p at these n values, f of beta 0 through f of beta n. Then common sense tells us that we should be able to compute uniquely f of p. Well, there are n plus 1 unknowns, and given n plus 1 points, that would correspond to n plus 1 equations, and I should uniquely be able to solve and compute n plus 1 unknowns. And so we could certainly do that. I mean, there is no reason why we couldn't. One way to do that is the Lagrange interpolation. Okay, so what does so let me just write down the Lagrange interpolation formula, and then so Lagrange interpolation says f of p is equal to summed over I equal to 0 to n. So first of all, we will sample these at some points f of pi, but let's call it beta I, because we are sampling these at these points, beta 0, beta 1 through So f of beta I. So we take one point at a time, f of beta I, multiply by the product of p minus beta j not equal to I divided by, substitute wherever there is p, so that in place of that p substitute beta I, so that p is replaced by beta I minus beta j and product j not equal to I. Okay, so that's really what the Lagrange interpolation says, and let's take an example and see. So let's say this is p, this is f of p, and let's say that I have a parabola here, and let's say that we have some points 1, 1, so 1 and 1, 2 and 2, let's say 2 and 2, and 3 and 1. So this is a parabola going down. So a parabola is of degree 2, so this can be written as a0 plus a1p plus a2p squared. So it can be written like that. And so 3 unknowns, a0, a1, a2, and if I give you 3 points, then we should be able to uniquely compute these values. By the way, from the high school algebra class, we probably should be able to write down. So f of p, I know the vertex 2, 2, so that would be p minus 2 whole squared, some constant a or slope m, whatever, plus the height of the vertex, which is 2. So if you substitute p is equal to 2, then 2 minus 2 is 0, 0 times m is 0, so that should match 2. So that's, and to find that a is m, just substitute one of the values. So if I substitute p is equal to 1, 1 minus 2 whole squared, 1 minus 2 whole squared is minus 1 squared is 1, and so I need the result 1, so that m must be minus 1. So 2 minus 1 will be plus 1. Okay. So I know that's the answer. Okay. Without going through so-called Lagrange interpolation, we already know that the answer should be this quantity, which is minus of p squared plus 4 minus 4p plus 2, which is minus p squared plus 4 minus p squared plus 4p minus 4 plus 2 is minus 2. Okay. All right. So, so what does Lagrange interpolation say? So Lagrange interpolation says we have these points f beta. So I have 3 points, 0, n is 2. So so f of p is equal, let's take the I equal to 0 term. So f of beta 0, so in this case beta 0 is 1, beta 1 is 2, beta 2 is 3, and the corresponding f values, f of beta values are 1, 2 and 1. Okay. So I take I equal to 0, beta 0 is 1, f of beta 0 is 1, so that's just 1, times, so now the product, so this is now p minus beta 1 times beta 2, p minus 2 times p minus 3, okay, divided by, in the bottom substitute, so I am taking 0, I equal to 0 term. So just substitute beta 0 in place of p, beta 0 is 1, so that's 1 minus 2 times 1 minus 3 plus, okay. Now I take I equal to 1, f of beta 1, f of beta 1 is 2, okay. So plus 2 times, now p minus, so p minus beta 0 times p minus beta 2 divided by, replace p by 2, so 2 minus 1 times 2 minus 3 plus 1, beta f of beta 2 is 1 times p minus 1 times p minus 2 divided by, replace p by 3, 3 minus 1 times 3 minus 2. Okay, that's what Lagrange interpolation is. Given 3 points, these are the corresponding 3, and if we simplify all of that, that should in fact correspond to that expression here. Okay, so let's just see if that indeed is true or not. So so that's equal to p squared minus 5p plus 6. This is minus 1 and this is minus 2. Multiply, you get plus 2. So divided by 2 plus 2 times p squared minus 4p plus 3 divided by, this is 1 and that's minus 1. So that's minus 1 plus p squared minus 3p plus 2 divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. Okay, so so then we can say this is equal to, if I take the denominator to be 2 and I can make that minus sign here as minus here. So we have p squared minus 5p plus 6 and then this is 2, so that multiply by 2. So minus 4 times p squared minus 4 times minus 4p minus 4 times 3 plus p squared minus 3p plus 2, which is equal to, now collect all the terms together, p squared 2p squared minus 4p squared, that's minus 2p squared divided by 2, that's minus p squared, minus 5p plus 16, that's 11p, minus 3p, that's 8p divided by 2 plus 4p, and take the constants. So 6 minus 12, that's minus 6, plus 2 is minus 4 divided by 2, which is minus 2, and indeed that expression here is the same as that expression that I had derived from knowledge of equation of a parabola. Okay, so this is an example of how we can use given n plus 1 points for a degree n polynomial, how to uniquely compute the polynomial by so-called Lagrange interpolation. Any question about this? Okay, so what does Lagrange interpolation have to do with convolution, and why is that useful to us? So there must be some reason why I am talking about this. I am certainly not trying to waste our time. So okay, so we can think about convolution. So let's take a simple example of a 2 by 2 convolution. And let's say that we have a 2-point convolution. So we want to compute S, which is S0, S1, S2 is equal to H0, H1 convolved with X0, X1. Okay, so we have a 2-point sequence H0, H1 and a 2-point sequence X0, X1, and we convolve that to get a 3-point convolution sum, which is S0, S1, S2. Okay. So in this so-called Z transform, instead of using the notation Z, I can use the notation P. Think about P as representing something similar to a Z transform. So this P is something similar to Z. I mean, you can actually think of it as a Z, but it's just that some polynomial in Z, I am just using polynomial in P. Okay, so I can write that as H0 plus H1P times X0 plus X1P. So in the Z transform domain, this would have been H0 plus H1 is Z to power minus 1. Okay, think about Z to power minus 1 as P. Okay. So we want to evaluate this product. Okay. So how many unknowns? So this is the polynomial S0 plus S1P plus S2P squared. So there are three unknowns S0, S1, S2, which means that if I can evaluate the I can evaluate this polynomial S in 3 points. Okay, there are three unknowns. It's a degree 2 polynomial. So if I can evaluate this in 3 points, then we should be able to uniquely compute SP. So evaluate SP at 3 points and take these points as simple points. In this case, we will take these points P is equal to beta 0 equal to 0. That's the first point. And then beta 1. Okay, let's just make that 3 points beta 0, beta 1 is 1, beta 2 is minus 1. So I pick 3 simple points 0, 1, minus 1 for that polynomial, and then these 3 points will then allow me to uniquely write down the polynomial S of P. Okay, so at P equal to 0, at beta 0 equal to 0, what is S of P, S of 0 or S of beta 0? What is that value? So S of P is given by this expression here, and if I substitute P is equal to beta 0, which is 0, then this quantity here H of P, okay, so this is equal to H of beta 0 times X of beta 0, and H of beta 0, if you substitute P equal to 0 is simply H0, and this P is equal to 0 is simply X0. And if I take beta 1 is 1, S of beta 1 is equal to H of beta 1 times X of beta 1, and if I substitute P is equal to 1, this is H0 plus H1 times X0 plus X1, and if I take beta 2 is equal to minus 1, then S of beta 2 is going to be H of beta 2 times X of beta 2, which is H0 minus H1 times X0 minus X1. Okay, so now we have the value of S at 3 points corresponding to beta 0, 0, 1 and minus 1. Okay, so let's go back to the original convolution. So if I want to compute, let's just write down the answers before going to the Lagrange interpolation. So what is S0? S0, if you take these products, well, just multiply these. The constant term is H0 X0. The degree P term is H0 X1 plus H1 X0. And the degree 2 term is H1 X1 P squared. So a simple 2 by 2 convolution requires the product of 2 polynomials, 2 by 2, 2 degree 1 polynomials, which means 2 terms in each. So the cross multiplies, so you get 4 terms, and so we need to compute H0 X0, H0 X1, H1 X0, H1 X1. So that then would correspond to 4 multiply operations and 1 add operation. Okay, why one adaptation? Because I need to add these two. Okay. So, now does the Lagrange interpolation really help in reducing the number of multiplications? Well, that is what we are trying to find out. Okay. So, so now I can write down S of P using Lagrange interpolation formula that we talked about. So, using this formula that I talked about, so that can be written as, so take the first value, so that is S of beta. I am not going to, we won't substitute this, let us just keep this S of beta 0 times P minus 1 times P minus minus 1, which is P plus 1, divided by, substitute wherever there is P, the first value of P beta 0. So, this is 0 minus 1 times 0 plus 1, plus S of beta 1 is 1. So, throw that out, and then we have P times P plus 1 divided by wherever there is P, now substitute 1. So, 1 times 2 plus S times S of beta 2, that is minus 1. So, that is P times P minus 1, and wherever there is P, substitute minus 1, and then times minus 2. Okay, we are done with that. So, this is then equal to S beta 0 times, this is minus 1 times plus 1, which is minus 1, and A minus B times A plus B, A squared minus B squared. So, that is P squared minus 1 multiplied by a minus sign. So, we get minus P squared plus 1, plus S of beta 1 times P squared plus P by 2, plus S of beta 2 times P squared minus P by plus 2. Okay, so so we are done with that, and then finally, if we collect the coefficients together, the constant term, the only constant term is S of beta 0, that is here. How many terms containing P? That is here and here. So, plus P times S beta 1 minus S beta 2 by 2. So, we have taken care of this term P, this term P. 3 terms containing P squared. So, plus P squared times minus S beta 0 plus S beta 1 by 2 plus S beta 2 by 2. Okay, so we now grouped the terms together, and then from the convolution result, which is S0 plus S1 P plus S2 P squared. So, this must be equal to S0, this whole thing must be S1, and this whole thing must be S2. Okay, so now if I write down those expressions, so S beta 0, remember S beta 0 is okay, S0, I should say S0 is equal to, which is H0 x0. S1 is S beta 1 minus S beta 2 by 2, and that is going to be, so this quantity and this quantity. So, that is going to be x0 plus x1 times h0 plus h1 by 2 minus x0 minus x1 times h0 minus h1 by 2. And finally, S2 is equal to minus S beta 0 plus S beta 1 plus S beta 2 by 2, and then that's going to be minus this quantity plus this, that minus here is replaced by plus, so that's x0 plus x1 times h0 plus h1 by 2 plus x0 minus x1 times h0 minus h1 by 2. Okay, so we have evaluated all these things. How many multiplications do we need now? Just assume that h0 plus h1 by 2 and h0 minus h1 by 2 are pre-computed. So if you think about the x as the signal and h is kind of a filter that is being used to convolve, and these are known a priori and they can be pre-computed, at least in the case of fixed coefficient filters. Okay. So as you will see that the three multiplications are h0 x0, that's one multiplication, h0 plus h1 by 2, which we pre-computed, multiplied by this quantity, that's another, and then this quantity pre-computed, and that's another. So we have three multiplications. So we have reduced the number of multiplications from 4 to 3. How many add operations now? I need to add x0 plus x1 and x0 minus x1. So that's 2 add operations. And then there is these 3 things should be added. Okay. So that's 2 add operations, and then one subtract and add. We count them as same operations, subtract or add. Okay, so so we need now 3 multiplications and 5 add operations. Why 5? One is x0 plus x1, one is x0 minus x1, and one add for s1, and 2 adds for s2. So we have to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so from 4 multiply, so compare that with 4 multiply 1 add, which is a straightforward evaluation, and then we can see that the number of multiply has reduced by 1, number of adds has gone up quite a bit. So instead of 1 add, we have now 4 adds, 5 adds, but that 5 adds is like 5 clock cycle. In those days, if the word length says 32 bits, then we have saved 32 cycles to save 1 multiply, and we have increased 4 cycles per add. So still saving up 28 cycles in a microprocessor with simply no multiplication and add or subtract operations. Okay. Okay, so that's the so-called original Cook-Tum algorithm, and then the next thing that you can observe that, well, we can simplify this by, okay, before I go to the so-called modified Cook-Tum algorithm, let me describe this operation here by 2 different ways. So let me describe this by a signal flow graph. So if I have 2 inputs coming x0, x1, so the first says h0, x0, so multiply by h0, and that's s0. And the second one says add x0 and x1, so add these, okay, and then multiply by h0 plus h1 by 2, and then subtract x0 and x1. So, subtract x0 minus x1, x0 minus x1 times h0 minus h1 by 2, and then this with a minus sign, that's S1, and S2 is minus this quantity. So, this quantity with minus sign plus this quantity plus this quantity. Okay, so that's kind of a signal flow graph description of the fast convolution algorithm here, and as you can see, as you can clearly see, more clearly see, that this is one add operation, this is one add operation, and this is one add operation, and this looks like a one node, but with 3 quantities being input to that node, that's 2 add operations. Okay. So, that's 5 add operations. Okay, so that's kind of one representation of that algorithm. One other representation that I want to describe is basically a matrix product representation of this quantity. So, so what we are trying to do here, so I start with the 2 elements x0, x1, these are the 2 points, and then we are computing. So, what are the values of the polynomial, x? So, the values of the polynomial x at those points are x0, x0 plus x1, x0 minus x1. Okay. So, we are computing. So, from that I multiply this by 1 0, x0, 1 1, x0 plus x1, 1 minus 1, that is x0 minus x1. Okay. So, this whole thing here is x0, x0 plus x1, x0 minus x1. So, that is 3 by 2 times 2 by 1 is 3 by 1. Okay. Now, what are we multiplying to these quantities? So, if you think about in the signal flow graph where we are, so we are at these 3 points now, and now to each of these we are multiplying these values. So, I can take a diagonal matrix with these values h0, h0 plus h1 by 2 and h0 minus h1 by 2, and that 3 by 3 diagonal matrix multiplied by this column vector, which is this times that. What exactly does that represent now? That represents these 3 values. So, we are h0 times this times that, and this times that. So, that is where we are in the signal flow graph, and finally we are multiplying by so S0 is equal to, so that's simply that quantity. So, that is just H0 X0. So, what is S1? So, if you look carefully what S1 is, well, I can go to the equation, but if you see, this is this result, this result minus this result. Okay. So, that is this minus that is what is this quantity. And here 3 things: the first result with a negative sign, second and third are positive sign. So, if you look at these, indeed correspond to these equations. So, this is the second element minus third element minus first element plus second plus third. And if you think about writing this convolution, so now what exactly have we done? We have really taken that S is equal to So I could write this So you can think about the convolution matrix as a 3 by 2 matrix. That's really the convolution matrix. So S0 is H0 X0, S1 is H1 X0 plus H0 X1, and H1 X1 is S2. And by the way, there is a little trick going on to check your work is correct. If you add these two, 1 plus 0 is 1, 0 plus 1 is 1, that's 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2, that's 2. So that way you know you are not making mistakes. So if you now think about this quantity as Q H P times X. So this 3 by 2 matrix has been written down as the product of 3 matrices, which is Q H P X. If you think about this matrix to be Q, this diagonal matrix to be H, and this permutation or pre-multiplication matrix to be P. So we can think about P as the pre-multiplication matrix and Q as the post multiplication matrix. Why is that? Well, first of all, this matrix operation applied to this gives us this result. Then we multiply this times that, second element times that, third element times that, and then we add, subtract here. That's after multiplication. This is before multiplying with this is after multiplying, so this is post multiplication. So we have spent all this time trying to take this 3 by 2 matrix and write that as a matrix product form as QHP. Okay, so that's kind of a very, very brief intro to the Cook-Tum algorithm. But then it became very obvious that, well, we probably can do better by simply recognizing that I don't really need to compute SP by evaluating it by 3 points. If indeed I already know that the last coefficient, we already know the last coefficient is simply H1 times X1. Okay. So instead of computing SP, if we just compute S0 plus S1P, which is same as SP minus H1 X1P squared. So if I can reduce the degree of the polynomial by 1, then I have a degree 1 polynomial that has 2 terms, and finally once I can compute S prime P by Lagrange interpolation. So now compute S prime P by Lagrange interpolation. Okay, so so how many points do I need now? Because it is a degree 1 polynomial, there are 2 degrees of freedom. That means I only need 2 points. So I can choose arbitrarily. I can choose 2 points. So choose P is equal to beta 0 equal to 0, and P is equal to beta 1 equal to 1. Okay, so let's just choose 0 and yeah, you can choose either 1 or minus 1. Depending on what you choose, the algorithm will be slightly different, and the finite word length properties of those will be very different depending on the signal. And we'll talk more about that maybe in a number of weeks. But okay, so all right, so now I can say S prime P. So if I take S prime beta 0 is equal to S beta 0, substitute P equal to 0 minus 0. So that's simply S beta 0, which is equal to, we already know that from before, that's H0 X0. And if I take S prime beta 1, that's going to be S beta 1 minus, you substitute P equal to 1 squared, 1 which is S of beta 1 minus H1 X1. What is S of beta 1? Any thoughts? That's going to be H of beta 1 times X of beta 1, which is equal to minus H1 X1, which is equal to H0 plus H1 times X0 plus X1 minus H1 X1. Okay, so now I have S prime beta 0 and S prime beta 1. So by using Lagrange interpolation, S prime P is equal to, so first take the first value S prime beta 0 times P minus beta 1, P minus beta 1, and then substitute in place of P the first value, which is 0, 0 minus 1, plus S prime beta 1 times P minus beta 0, which is just P, divided by, replace P by 1, so P by 1, P by 1. Okay. So this is equal to S prime beta 0 and times minus P plus 1 plus S prime beta 1 times P, and if you collect the terms together, that's constant term S prime beta 0 plus P times S prime beta 1 minus S prime beta 0. So that's then finally S of P is equal to, S of P is equal to S prime P plus H1 X1 P squared. So that's going to be S prime beta 0 plus P times S prime beta 1 minus S prime beta 0 plus P squared times H1 X1. So now this is S0, this is S1, this is S2, and let's see if we have any savings compared to original Cooktool. Okay, so what exactly are we doing here? So we start with the two-dimensional input vector x0, x1, and then what did I compute here? I compute so the products I need are h0, x0, h0 plus h1 times x0 plus x1, and finally the h1 x1. So I need to keep x0. I need to compute x0 plus x1, that's an add operation, and finally we need to keep x1. So h0 times x0, h0 plus h1 times x0 plus x1, h1 times x1. So that's the diagonal H matrix. And finally S prime beta 0, S0 is 1 0 0. Okay. This quantity here is S prime beta 1. So S prime beta 1 minus beta 0. So that's the first quantity minus, second quantity plus, and the last one is H1 X1. Okay. All right. So so if you think about what we have done here, so this is saying S0 is H0 X0, S2 is H1 X1, and S1 is H0 plus H1 times X0 plus X1 minus H0 X0. Something does not seem right. something doesn't, I think something doesn't seem right. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Okay, so what went wrong? Let's go back and see. I think, okay, I see what went wrong. So, okay, let's just see. S prime P is S prime beta 0 P minus 1, substitute P equal to 0, that's correct. And then this is P minus 0, and then substitute this is 1 minus 0, okay, that's fine. And then S prime beta 0 minus P plus 1 plus P, and then S prime beta 0 plus P times S prime beta 1 minus S prime beta 0. That looks okay. Finally, S of P is adding back the P squared term. Aha, here is what I made a mistake. Okay, I see my mistake. Okay. So, S prime beta 1, this quantity is really this quantity. So, S prime beta 1 here is H0 plus H1 times X0 plus X1 minus H1 X1, and then this quantity is H0 X0. Okay. So, so that was minus H1 X1, this whole thing so far is S prime beta 1 minus H0 X0, and when I use the matrix form, minus H1 X1 was here, and then minus H, okay, that's fine. Okay. So, so now we have a different, slightly different algorithm by this so-called modified Cook-Tum algorithm. And is there any advantage? And if you really see the main advantage now, I still need 3 multiply. I need to multiply H0 X1, H0 X0, H1 X1, and H0 X plus H1 times X0 plus X1. These two are already multiplied, we know that. Now, so we now need, so I needed 3 multiply and 5 adds, and now we need 3 multiply and 3 adds. And why 3 adds? Because 1 add for adding the x0 plus x1, second, third. So, these are the 2 elements here, and this is the 1. So, we have now been able to reduce by using modified Cook-Tum algorithm from 3 multiply 5 adds to 3 multiply 3 adds. That's really the best you can do, no matter what. In the 2 by 2 convolution algorithm, you can't do any better. So, that's the best. So, we are trying to go through how these ideas of what was really DSP. I mean, if you think about what DSP was in 60s, that this was the bread and butter of DSP. So, if you think about DSP today and the main thing in IEEE Signal Processing Society, that's really all data science and applications of data science and speech and image and video. But this was the heart of DSP in 60s and 70s. Okay, any questions? Okay, so we have spent time talking about, so by the way, this matrix here, if you compare that with the other matrix, it looks a little better with respect to multiply add. So, first of all, here this 2 elements here means 1 add, 2 elements here is 1 add, that is why we were adding x0 plus x1, x0 minus x1. So 2 elements here is 1 add, 3 elements in this row means 2 adds. So now we have only 3 elements in one row. These rows have 1 element. So if I write this again as something like so if I define Q2, I am going to call Q2. 2 means 2 by 2 convolution. Q2 is 1 0 0 minus 1 1 minus 1 0 0 1. P2, which is 1 0 1 1 0 1. So I can write down S3, well, S3, 3 points. S3 is equal to Q2 times diagonal of P2 times H, which is 2 by 1 vector, H0 H1, times P2 times X2. X2 is 2. I could call this H2, which is okay. I could. So P2, so this is 1, so this quantity here, and this quantity is same thing. If you look at what's the result of this, x0 plus x1 x1. This is, so this is, if you think of this diagonal matrix, so this whole thing here is h0 plus h1, and then if I write this diagonal means take this 3-dimensional vector, put them into a diagonal matrix. So these 3 elements become the diagonal elements of the 3 by 3. 3 by 1 column vector becomes the diagonal element. So that's kind of one way to represent the 2 by 2 convolution algorithm. So Q2 is again the post multiplication, P2 is the pre multiplication. So now I guess the main thing that you can then think about, okay, that's great, we already know how to do a small convolution 2 by 2, that's great, but that's really many times if you are doing satellite signal processing, you might sometimes be interested in 10,000 taps, 10,000 point convolution. And so how do we build higher point convolutions, and that then leads to the concept of iterated convolution. So you can use a 2 by 2 convolution algorithm to design a 4 by 4, and then use a 2 by 2 and a 4 by 4 to design an 8 by 8. So we can use a 2 by 2 point and a 2 by 3 point. So if this is one convolution algorithm and this is another convolution algorithm, I can then use that to compute a 4 by 6 point, 4 point by 6 point convolution. If I use 2 by 2 followed by 2 by 4, I can use that to compute 4 point by 8 point convolution. So the whole idea of iterated convolution is how do we describe longer point convolutions using shorter length convolutions. And to illustrate that simple idea, let's start with a 2 by 2 point combined with or iterated with another 2 by 2 point, and then we can get to obtain a 4 by 4 point. So I am interested in computing a 4 by 4 point convolution by iterating this twice. Okay. By the way, if you had chosen this second point beta to be -1 here, this formula here would be slightly different. What I have written down, h0 plus h1 times x0 plus x1 minus h1 x1 minus h0 x0 would have been slightly different, and would have been slightly different in the sense this would be minus, this would be minus, because beta is -1. So h0 minus h1 times x0 minus x1, and these two would be plus terms. Okay, I'm just telling you the final answer without going through work. So this will be minus minus, these two would be plus plus. And I can use the iterated convolution for 1 2 by 2. I could use this algorithm. For the other 2 by 2, I could use the minus algorithm too. So depends on, you can pick any arbitrary algorithm to do that. So let me see if I can just keep the same algorithm. So we are going to use the same algorithm. So so that's the same algorithm we are going to use. So S0. So this is the algorithm. I'm going to iterate the same algorithm twice, okay, to compute 4 by 4 convolution. So Hp is H0 plus H1p plus H2p squared plus H3p cube. So H is a 4-point sequence, H0, H1, H2, H3, which I can then write by iterated convolution. I can write this as two polynomials. So this is a 1-degree polynomial, this is another 1-degree polynomial, and think about q is the same as p squared. So if I take p squared outside a bracket, okay, and then I'm left with H2 plus H3p. The polynomial x can similarly be written as x0 plus x1p plus some q is p squared, times x2 plus x3p. Okay, so I can now write SP. So I can say SP is equal to H00, let's call this H00 plus Q times H01 times X00 plus Q times X01. So if you think about these two terms together as H00, these two terms together as H01. So this is a first degree polynomial in Q, and this is X00, this is X01, and this is a first degree polynomial in Q, where each of these H0001, X0001 are themselves first degree polynomials in P. So at a higher level, these are polynomials of degree 1 with respect to Q. At the second iteration level, each of these is a polynomial in P of degree 1. So I can write this as H00x00 plus Q times H00x01 plus H01x00 plus Q squared times H01x01. So now I can now think about these terms. Okay, so now I can think about, so I can now write down this as H00 x00 plus Q squared times H01 x01 plus Q times, if I go back to my algorithm here, which is saying, now I can apply the fast convolution algorithm that we know by using this formula here, that says that's equal to H00 plus H01 times X00 plus X01 minus H00 X00 minus H01 X01. So that's that algorithm applied to this here. So now we have, now if you think about it, so each one of these is now, so we have completed one iteration, the outer iteration. Now we need to compute another iteration, the inner iteration, where each of these, what is this quantity? Well, that's just, we just computed that H00, that's simply H0 plus H1p times X0 plus X1p. I just computed that. Okay. So So that's equal to H0 plus H1P times, by the way, these Q's are P squared and P fourth, these terms, times X0 plus X1P, which is equal to H0 X0 plus P times H0 X1 plus H1 X0 plus P squared times H1 X1, which is then equal to H0 X0 plus P times H0 plus H1 times X0 plus X1 minus H0 X0 minus H1 X1 plus P squared times H1 X1. Okay, that's so now we have applied the same 2 by 2 convolution algorithm to the inner level for this term, and like that we can apply that for each. We can apply that here, H0 X1 X01, and that's H2 plus H3P times X2 plus X3P. I am not going to write that down, but you know what to do. And finally H00 plus H01 times X00 plus X01 is equal to H0, so H0 plus H1P plus H2, this is H01, so that's H0 plus H2 plus P times H1 plus H3 times X0 plus X2 plus P times X1 plus X3. Okay, so so then we need to multiply these. So this will be H0 plus H2 times X0 plus X2 plus P squared times H1 plus H3 times X1 plus X3 plus P times H0 plus H2 plus H1 plus H3 times X0 plus X1 plus X2 plus X3. I am just writing that down, minus this term here, minus that term here. Okay, then finally we need to put these terms together. So we have 3 results coming out of here. Think about this, 3 results coming out of here. So this is a degree 2 polynomial in P squared. This is a degree 2 polynomial in P. This itself, the last one, is also degree polynomial in P, degree 2 polynomial. So now actually it has become to a point that you can't really write this down a lot, and I think this is best done at home, but let me quickly try to go through what we have accomplished so far. So let's say, so let me come back to here. Okay, let's come back here and then we will get to more. So let's say that S of P is equal to, if you think about these products here, so this whole thing here, this whole thing, let's call that A1 plus A2P plus A3P squared plus Q, which is same as P squared, times this whole thing, let's call that B1 plus B2P plus B3P squared plus Q squared, which is P fourth, times this whole thing, let's call that C1 plus C2P plus C3P squared. Okay, so then finally that is going to be equal to A1 plus A2P, and we take out common terms, A3 adds with B1, so plus A3 plus B1 P squared plus, what is P cube term, B2 P cube plus P to power 4 terms, B3 and C1, so we add these two, plus C2 P to power 5 plus C3 P to power 6. now very quickly you can see that what we have here is adding the last term of this and the first term of this, and adding the last term B of B and the first term of C. Those are the overlap terms. Okay, so so how many? Okay, let's talk about. This is something I will continue next class, I think, but let me see what I can accomplish in last 5 minutes. Okay, so what we are trying to do here is so the first term H00 X00, so that's really this A1, A2, A3. Okay, so that's A1, A2, A3, and the last one here, this is C1, C2, C3. So we take, let's see if we can draw a signal flow graph. So I take X0, X1, okay, and then we compute H0, X0, H0, H1, X1, and then we add these two, multiply by H0 plus H1, and then let's see, this minus that, okay, A1, A2, A3. X2, X3, same thing. This is add, okay, and H0, 1, H01, X01, H2, X2, H3, X3. So we compute H2, X2, H3, X3, H2 plus H3, and then subtract, and that's that. Okay, and then finally we add the term H00 plus H01 times X00 plus X01, which is H0 plus H2 times X0 plus X2. So we need to take X0 plus X2 and then X1 plus X3. So I add X0 plus X2 and we add X1 plus X3 well, let's take here X1 plus X3 and then we add these two together just like this. So you can see how the iterations are repeating, right? So you can see the same pattern. So now we have X0 plus X2, X1 plus X3, and this is the sum of all of these, and this is multiplied by H0 plus H2, H1 plus H3, and H0 plus H1 plus H2 plus H3, and this is now going to be subtracting this, exactly same pattern. Okay, so now we have A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3, and the last result is going to be by adding. So this is S0, this is S1, and I add these two to get S2, S3, and I add this to get S4 last and first, S4, S5 and S6. So the 7-point convolution, 4 by 4 convolution leads to a 7-point result, and that is going to be this S0 through S6. How many multiplies do we need now? We need 3 so each one of the small units, is the inner 2 by 2 convolution, and then there is the outer convolution. Okay. So 3 times 3, 9 multiplications. How many add operations? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the pre-processing part 5 multiplications. Post-processing, how many? 2. This 3 nodes coming here, 2 and 2. So 5 plus 2 plus 2, okay, and then 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Let's see, anything else? So 9 multiplications. How many add operations? Two. Okay, so these are the 2, 2, 2. So that's 6. So these are these points 2, 2, 2, and then the outer points are 1 and 1. Is that correct? Yeah. So 2 times 4 plus 5, 13 add. Okay, so we'll stop here. I have gone a little over time, but we will continue this and talk about how to express this iterated convolution using the matrices.